How's it going, guys? And welcome to this week's episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where you didn't really ask for it, but hey, I'm going to give it to you anyways. It's kind of like when you get a D plus on your report card, and you kind of just have to accept it and realize that you are much more of a failure than when you get an F. So I just compared my show to a D plus on a report card. Anyways, this podcast is talking about anything, everything, and, well, anything about movies. And on this week's episode, since Christmas and a bunch of seasonal commercials are out, I kind of figure holiday and Christmas movies would be appropriate, and talking about new trailers, the box office results for the weekend, and, of course, the DVD releases of this past Tuesday. Now, before I begin, I want to let you guys know, if you're listening to this live, feel free to tweet me at Reel Chase Lee, so R-E-E-L Chase Lee, and comment on anything I talk about, and I will give you a shout out. And if you say I'm wrong or you hate a movie that I mentioned, then I will still give you a shout out. All right, so let's begin with the holiday and Christmas movies. You know, when you watch a holiday and Christmas movie, it's pretty much like a feel-good movie. You want to just put on your really tacky, terrible looking Christmas sweater. You want to bundle yourself up in the warmest pajamas. You want to sit on your bed, eat a gingerbread cookies leg, gingerbread man, have some eggnog, spike it with a little alcohol, and watch a holiday movie, and you will have the best night of your life, hands down. Now, I was born in 1990, so I grew up with not a lot of holiday and Christmas movies, but I did grow up. I did grow up. I did grow up with a couple of them, and I gotta say, the very first one I'm gonna have to start off the bat is Home Alone. That came out the year I was born, but I didn't see it until, I don't know, when I was like 5 or 6 for the first time. And there's just something about that movie that's just absolutely terrible to watch. Two guys bust into a house and completely don't know like where their shit is, and they just like walk around like blind bats the entire time. But the whole feel of the movie is very holiday and Christmas-y, to where like you just feel good, maybe because it is set around Christmas. I think that's it. I think that's the key. If you have snow, holiday music, and if your color palette in your movie is like really bright with yellows, I think you got a holiday movie. I think you'll feel good. But anyways, Home Alone is probably one of my favorite holiday Christmas movies. I try to watch it at least once a year. If not, then I try to watch it. So the next one on my list is A Christmas Story. Now, when I was growing up, in my house when I was a wee little kid, and by wee little kid, I actually looked like a fat hobbit, we watched A Christmas Story every single Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Because on TBS, they played that thing for like 24 hours straight. And Christmas Story, to me, it's a simple story. It's funny, it's charming, and it's got a great feel to it. It just does. Don't shoot your eye out, the whole sticking the tongue to the ice pole, or the icy pole scene, and trying to pull it off, that was hilarious. It's just a feel-good movie, and, if you're bored and you haven't seen it, it plays on TBS 24 hours in a row on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, so you got plenty of times to watch it. I mean, you really can't bitch about not catching it on TV. One, it's playing for nearly 48 fucking hours, okay? You can have time to watch it. Another one I want to say is, looking at my list here, I'm trying to pick a good one. I'll go ahead and just say it. I watched this a couple weeks ago, and I think Elf. Now, Elf is not the best movie in the world. Neither is it Will Ferrell's best movie. But every time you watch it, it's got such a feel-good tone to it. And, some of the comedy does work, some of it doesn't. But it's very, by the books, like family-friendly movie. It's got good messages and believing and stuff. And it works for what it does. It is a kid's movie after all. And the director of Iron Man did that. So there you go, just blew your mind. But But Elf is not that bad. A lot of people think it's a terrible movie, but it's not the worst. Trust me. Now, when I turned 17, I basically watched every R-rated movie possible, and I basically had my fair share of F-words, tits, and pretty much the most graphic violence you could think of. And one of those movies I remember watching was Bad Santa. Now, if you want to watch Billy Bob Thornton drink a lot, smell like whiskey, and fall down everywhere with a midget elf on his side, a midget black elf to be specific, then you will have a good time with this. Now, Bad Santa is not the funniest movie I've seen, but if you are in the mood for like a feel-good movie, but you don't want like the family-friendly element and you just want like hardcore raunch in your face, hey, Bad Santa's where it's at. It's a pretty funny movie. Haven't seen it in a while, but I do remember a lot of scenes in the mall with him and having the kids sit on his lap and like him just like cursing up a storm and stuff. It is some good stuff. And if you haven't seen Bad Santa and you want to check it out for a couple laughs or whatever, you got it. I think you'll really enjoy it. Some timeless classics include It's a Wonderful Life. If you guys have not seen that movie, what are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Come on. That's a classic for all ages. Let's see. Jack Frost. The Michael Keaton one, not the terrible horror movie that's on Netflix right now, even though that one's pretty funny. Jack Frost. I remember as a kid watching it, and Michael Keaton is brought back. His soul is kind of seeped in to some snow, and a snowman, and he comes to life, and the kids are like, "Oh my god, it's a snowman!" And they're all freaking out and shit. And then they realize that it's their dad. Okay, when you watch it as a kid, you kind of go, "Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. That's really funny. That's really awesome. Yay!" And then when you watch it as a teenager or an adult, you're just like, Jesus. There's a talking snowman roaming around the streets, probably touching little kids everywhere. It just... The whole movie has a vibe of, the creepiest thing in the world. Can you imagine, walking down the street and, having this snowman, wobble from side to side with his fat ass, going down the street or whatever? He was like, "How's it going, guys?" And "How's it going, neighbor?" And neighbors and stuff are all freaking out, having their pitchforks and their fire on their sticks, or whatever. And mobs just try to go destroy it, and the army and navy comes and stuff, and the whole military just comes in and just starts shooting at a snowman, and it basically just explodes into a bunch of ice and just melts over time. But I think with today's society and how people are just fearful of everything, I seriously think Jack Frost, instead of being a family-friendly movie, I seriously think that if it was realistic, the military would have been there within seconds trying to destroy this very freaky talking snowman, because we don't know what it is, so we just gotta kill it. I'm just imagining the snowman. He's just like, "Hey guys, you remember me?" And they're just like, "Stay away from me! I'm your father." "No, stay away! Stay away! You asshole!" Well, I mean, they wouldn't say that because it's a kids movie. So I guess what they say, "Stay away, you poopy head." I don't know. Another one is A Nightmare Before Christmas. I remember watching this as a kid, and I was like, "This is really cool animation." And then when I get older and I actually research it, and I actually know what it's made of, and it's not animation, it's claymation. It's a very creepy Tim Burton movie, and it's one of my favorites. And for that, it's one of my favorites in the sense of, it actually, it's got the Tim Burton feel, the creepiness to it, but it's also not, overdone. You know when you get, too much Tim Burton, coming at you on your face? It's hey, man, you gotta tone that down. Prime example, Dark Shadows. The movie was terrible and had so much Tim Burton all over me. I felt like I just had to go outside to the parking lot, take my shirt off, drive home, have a shower, and go cry in the fetal position in the corner of my room because there was just too much Tim Burton. But Nightmare Before Christmas just felt just right with the Tim Burton flair. And for all you people out there, He didn't even direct this movie, but he produced it. But he's still the boss of the movie, and it still had his flavor. The guy that directed it is Henry Selick, and he actually added his touch too. So when you add those two guys together, you have one fucked up kids movie. Henry Selick is actually the director of Coraline, and there you go. Now you know why. Let's see. Santa Claus. You guys remember that movie with Tim Allen? It's almost like after Toy Story and, Tom Hanks, I can imagine like the conversation like Tom Hanks and Tim Allen, they have their lunch on their last day of recording their voices or whatever for Toy Story. And Tom's like, hey, Tim, what are you doing after this? And he's like, I don't know, man. I might just like pedal a hot dog cart or something. And Tom's like, yeah, I got a couple movies lined up that are probably going to win me some Oscars. And then I can imagine like 2 weeks later, Tim Allen gets a call from his agent going, oh my God, Tim, we finally got an offer. We finally got one. Like, just take it. And he's just like, what is it? And he's like, no, don't question. Just take it. You're never going to get anything. You're going to have to make soap for a living. And so I can imagine him calling Tom, and he's just like, hey, Tom, I get this part in a role, or I got this role in a movie. He's like, that's pretty cool. So what is it? He's like, oh, I'm playing Santa Claus it's like a kid's movie and stuff. And he's like, oh, I just did Saving Private Ryan. Yeah. But I know, I knock on Tim Allen a lot. He's a funny guy, beyond his Toy Story voice acting. But Santa Claus it's not like a perfect movie. It's just like a fun movie. It's like a fun holiday movie where you can just kind of sit back and go, that was kind of fun. I enjoyed that. I played it in the background at my Christmas party so I wouldn't have to talk to my drunk family members, and I enjoyed it. It's just kind of like one of those fun, enjoyable movies. Now, there's a lot more on this list, and I will say, you got Rudolph, Frosty, the Snowman, those like stop motion claymation ones. Those are always fun to watch. Harold and Kumar 3D Christmas was very raunchy but very fun for a Christmas movie. But I'm going to end the holiday and Christmas movie section with Jingle All The Way. Because let me tell you, put the cookie down! Jimmy, put the cookie down! I promise never to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression again. When you watch Jingle All The Way, you realize to yourself that it is the most... It's a ridiculous movie by all means. But hey, I watched it a couple weeks ago, and not only does it have that feel-good holiday feel to it, it's also kind of funny. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I love just seeing him try to act. And this one, he can't do holiday comedies, or even family comedies, to save his life. And plus, it's got the kid from Phantom Menace. So, yeah. It's just really funny. And Jim Belushi's in there, and he plays a Santa. And it's like a Santa ring instead of like a drug ring. It's like a Santa ring, and like they make toys for like on the black market for like high prices and stuff when they're like shitty quality. It's just a fun movie. If you've never seen Jingle All The Way, you're gonna be not quoting it. You might be quoting it, but then you'll be like referencing it for days. Like Turbo Man, the Turbo Man, Jimmy, you cannot have the Turbo Man, and put the cookie down. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger, enough said. Check out Jingle All The Way. It's on Netflix. All right. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is holiday Christmas movies. And I want to know what you guys' favorite holiday or Christmas movies are. Like, comment below and just let me know. I'd like to hear everyone's answers. So we're going to move on to the trailers that debuted this week. And let me tell you, there's some good ones. And there's some mediocre ones. All right. So the first one is 22 Jump Street. It came out on Monday, I believe. And it's the sequel to 21 Jump Street. Now, 21 Jump Street, when it came out, I thought it was really funny. I thought it had a good, like, satirical tone to it where it just, like, completely just made fun of itself and reboots in general. And I thought it was a pretty funny movie. And I'm pretty excited for this the second one, 22 Jump Street. But I have to say this. It looks exactly like the first one, like, same plot line, same tone. And I know they referenced that in the movie and they make fun of it. But, it kind of spices up a bit. And I think they will, for the most part. I'm not really worried about it. I'm just saying, from the trailer, it kind of looks exactly like the first one. But yes, you're probably saying, like, that's what a sequel is supposed to be. Well, true, but you kind of have to mix it up a bit. It might suffer from the Hangover 2 syndrome, where it's like the exact same copy of the first one. Oh, and by the way, I actually watched Hangover 2 the other day. It's not as bad as people think. I watched it for a second time. I was like, that was kind of funny. It wasn't bad. Yeah, I don't like the, ridiculous, same exact plot thing, but it still works, and I still like the whole trilogy as a whole. But anyways, going off topic. We had the Transcendence trailer, which is the new movie directed by Wally Pfister. Who's that, you say? Yeah, you've never heard of him. He is the cinematographer in all of Christopher Nolan's movies, including Inception, the Dark Knight trilogy, and he's directing this movie. It's got Johnny Depp in it, so no face paint. We're actually getting real Johnny Depp. We're getting like Gilbert Grape and Blow Johnny Depp. The good Johnny Depp before he looked like he fell in a pile of chalk. So, Transcendence, it looks really good. I'm really intrigued, but I'm kind of sick and tired of artificial intelligence machines turning on the humans. Like Robopocalypse, the new Tom Cruise trailer that came out last week, Edge of Tomorrow, and then Avengers 2 is going to use that for Ultron. Like, give me a break. I mean, it looks cool. I'll check it out, but like, come on, Wally Pfister. You can do a better job in coming up with something that seems fresh and original. I know everything is not original nowadays, but, appear fresh for God's sake. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. This teaser trailer dropped, and I thought, perfect teaser trailer. A teaser trailer is supposed to hit you with it as hard as it can and set you with the tone. It did just that, and I love the ending shot with the close-up on Caesar's face, drawing back really slowly, drawing back, and then you see his fingers like wave down as the army of monkeys like chase after the guy that's talking to him. I thought it was a fantastic teaser. Very pumped for it. The next one was Blended. That's a Adam Sandler movie. And Drew Barrymore. Now, yes, they've done Wedding Singer and they've done 50 First Dates, and I like both of them. But it looks like the exact same stuff. Like he's been doing for the past 3 years. I like Adam Sandler. I will always back him up. I even like his dramatic stuff more than his comedic stuff. Punch Drunk Love, go see that. Reign Over Me, go see that. But Blended just looks so generic. And there's another trailer that came out called 3 Days to Kill. Kind of looks like a generic agent or secret agent thriller. I'm a badass. Liam Neeson, Taken, Mission Impossible, Born Identity. It just looks so similar to everything. How to Train Your Dragon 2 came out. I actually really liked the first How to Train Your Dragon. I thought it was a very well done DreamWorks animation movie. The animation was out of this world. I thought it was fantastic. The music was awesome. I liked all the voice acting, and I thought the story was nice. The second one, however, it looks good. The animation it looks beautiful, but it hasn't really hooked me. I don't know what it is, but it just seemed kind of like, okay, I'll see it, but it didn't give me like pumped for it. So I don't know. What trailers did you guys see this week? And let me know below. And which one was your favorite out of the ones I listed? Alrighty then. We are now to the box office portion of this podcast, where I'm going to list to you the top 5 box office movies of the weekend. And here we go. At number 5 was Saving Mr. Banks at $9 million. Not bad for a movie that just opened up this weekend. I'm actually seeing it tonight, so I'm actually pretty pumped. I need to see that one, American Hustle and Wolf of Wall Street, for the end of the year. So I'm pretty pumped about it. I've heard very good things. Number 4 was American Hustle with $19.1 million, and that's actually a pretty good opening for that type of movie that opened this week as well. I will be seeing that shortly, and I'm looking forward to it. I love David O. Russell, The Fighter, Silver Linings Playbook. I Heart Huckabees wasn't bad. I liked it. Three Kings. Man, that's an old movie. Number 3 was, oh man, I'm just now looking at these numbers and realizing they're pretty damn close. Frozen came in 3rd place with $19.163 million. So $63,000 more than American Hustle. Ridiculous. It has grossed $344 million worldwide on a budget of $150. So I think if it makes about, I want to say like 20 to 50 more million, it might break even. It might. Number 2, Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues with $27 million. It came out on Wednesday, so it's grossed $40 million so far on a $50 million budget. It's going to make a whole lot more to break even. It's a pretty good debut. But number 1, kicking its ass, and that's so awesome to see, The Hobbit, Desolation of Smeagol. $31 million for the weekend, 127 domestically, and 403 worldwide. It's a juggernaut, just like the first one, and the third one will be just like that. Very good movie, highly suggested. Saw Anchorman 2, that was pretty funny, so I highly suggest that if you like the first one. I like the first half of Anchorman 2 a lot more than, the first half of Anchorman 2 was good, but the second half was even funnier. Frozen was great, and you see American Hustle and Saving Mr. Banks. DVD releases for this past Tuesday. Woo, this is a list. Elysium. I thought District 9 was better, but that's just me. I felt Elysium was just like District 9 in the themes and stuff, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll deal with it. But the special effects were out of this world. Prisoners, I thought was awesome. It's in my top 10 for the year, for sure, and it just blew me away. It felt like an old school, just creepy, thriller or something from the 70s. I loved it. Cinematography was beautiful for Roger Deakins. Does a lot of the Coen Brothers films. Did Skyfall from last year. The acting was incredible. The music was great. It was so eerie. I just really love Prisoners. So check that one out. Percy Jackson 2. Didn't see the first one. Kick-Ass 2 came out. I really liked Kick-Ass 2. My brother did as well. And I really liked the first one. So Kick-Ass 2, if you like the first one, give the second one a shot. I would say at least that. Just give it a shot. The Family with Robert De Niro, did not see that. The Lone Ranger came out. Hey, we're gonna see if it can make a little bit of money from the huge loss it just made from theaters. Yeah, right. Next one, One Direction documentary came out. It's actually directed by one of my favorite documentary people, Morgan Spurlock, who did Super Size Me. Little disappointed. All right, so that wraps up this week's episode of Reel Me In, a movie podcast, where we talked about holiday Christmas movies and new trailers that came out. If you guys like this, go ahead and subscribe to Spreaker on my profile page. Is Spreaker.com/user/RealChaseLee. My Twitter is @RealChaseLee. Facebook is www.com. It's definitely not that. I must be drinking too much water over here. It's facebook.com/realreviews with Chase Lee. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Shabutnik75, capital S, lowercase HABOOTNIK, 75 as in the number. And tune in next week. Guys, this is a big one. Next Sunday is the last Sunday for 2013, so you know what that means. Whole podcast, top 10 for the year. I'm going to release my top 10 for 2013 on next week's podcast. Like the whole episode is going to be the top 10 and why I placed everything there and my honorable mentions and just movies this past year in general. So tune in next week for my top 10 of 2013. And hey guys, have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and I will see you guys next Sunday. I am Chase Lee. And you guys have been listening to Reel Me In, a movie podcast. And I will see you guys later. Be safe.